Jamarjiki everyone. Today I'd like to share with you some of the things I've learned in my pursuit of happiness and success. Recently, in my one-on-one with a mentor of mine who's been helping me with my career, I asked him, what frustrates you the most? He said, when I recognize people who have so much potential, but still don't make it in life. Sometimes I recognize they have strengths, that they're gifted, which I struggled to learn and adopt, but they squander the opportunity. This was an aha moment for me, one that triggered some introspection. I immediately thought of Maharaji, our guru. He recognized the strengths of millions of disciples. He recognized some strengths in me. But I asked myself, am I doing them justice? Is his guidance and love being squandered in the pursuit of material happiness and not divine joy? If I'm being blatantly honest with myself, yes. I've wasted many opportunities in life due to the lack of recognizing a true opportunity. The fear of failure, perhaps, or even sheer laziness. And the best part is, without even attempting, I convinced myself that if he, Guru or God, really wanted it to happen, it would have happened, right? I blame destiny or fate. This attitude is poison on the path of spirituality. It is a sign of spiritual cowardice, not one of contentment in God's will. Let's not fool ourselves. All of us here have spiritual goals that we would like to accomplish. Today, I'll share a few tips and tricks that we can use to garner better results from our spiritual practice. Self-analysis. In the beginning, this is the most important step. Recognize, if you have no conversation with yourself, you have no conversation with God. For those who struggle with this, please recognize it's your ego that stops you from being honest with yourself. These days, social media is riddled with toxic positivity. In every event, just be positive. I suggest stop being positive. Simply be honest with yourself. Now that we've worked on self-analysis and we've analyzed and know what we need to change in our lives to be more successful, next, be maniacally focused. Not simply focused, maniacally focused. The word priority came about in the English language around the 1400s. Something that takes precedence, to be completed before everything else. That's what a priority is. Fun fact though, it was never plural, it was only singular. Because how can you have multiple priorities? It's always the one. So focusing in on that one and being maniacal about it is the key to success. Warren Buffett asks one of his employees to write down 25 things he wants to achieve in his career. Mike, his employee, writes them down. Warren then asks him to circle the top 5. Mike goes, spends a little bit of time with himself, and figures out the top 5 most important things he wants to go focus on. And goes, Warren, here's the 5 things. Warren asks him, what about the 6 through 25? Mike says, those I do on weekends, weeknights, perhaps when a project stalls or there's time between projects. Warren explains, you've got it all wrong, Mike, all wrong. The 6 to 25 is your never do under any circumstance list. Because it's so easy to get our head wrapped around those things that are albeit good uses of our time, but not great uses of our time. And I don't know about you, but I want to be great, not just good. I mean, I should live up to my guru's expectations, who is nothing less than great, isn't he? Next, set the right mindset. A study performed on aging population proves to be very insightful in this case. There were two groups totaling 700 elderly who were studied. In group 1, there were the negative nannies, the ones that believed this is the end of their lives. Everyone around me is getting sick. We all are going to die at some point. Group 2, the positive thinkers. I will be moving into the prime of my life, they said. These are the golden years of my life. I have never been smarter. That was the attitude the positive thinkers had. And guess what? They lived 7.6 years on average, longer than the other group. It's because the positive thinkers believed in eating healthy and exercising to enjoy the last chapter of their life. They chose healthy actions. The negative thinkers, on the other hand, chose not to focus on their health and the lack of exercise, for they believe the deterioration of health is inevitable. Today, we know and understand, and sometimes only focused on the actions and results. The relationship and the correlation between both, we've been able to hack and use. But the inner onion, the pearl inside, comprises of belief or mindset. That is the key difference in making everlasting change. Set the right mindset, and it will have a ripple effect on actions and henceforth results. Ask yourself, what would you do for an additional 7.6 years of life? Would you consider having the right mindset? In meditation, set the right mindset. Train it to something like, I want to become the type of person that does not miss sadhana ever. This shift in mindset will lead to better choices, which will lead to significantly better results. Next, your will. Understand your strengths, which is your will. There was a study conducted on a parole board of judges. Over 1,000 cases were studied. This is where judges decide if a convict should be released earlier on good behavior or the time they've served, and other factors that are built into the criminal justice system. But in fact, they found the single biggest factor was the time of day the hearing was conducted. In the beginning of the day, the likelihood was around 60% that your appeal would have been accepted. But as the day progressed, your chances deteriorated. It spiked a little again after a coffee break. But then as the day further progressed towards lunch, the judges get fatigued, their willpower depletes, and the odds of your hearing resulting positive reduces further. It spikes a little again by the afternoon break, but subsequently drops off a cliff by the end of the day. This is the psychological concept, decision fatigue, it's called. The idea is the more decisions you make during the day, the more your willpower and focus gets fatigued. The key takeaway here is the priority, that singular priority you set at the beginning, should be conducted first thing in the day, for that's when the highest success rates can be realized. The 1% rule. Here, I'd like to start with a story. UK's Olympic cycling team won one gold medal in 100 years. They never won the Tour de France, which is a premier event in the world of cycling. They hired a new coach to help the team improve their performance results and world standings. He believed in a concept called aggregation of marginal gains, where you increase performance by 1% every day, small gains. After analyzing where improvements needed to be made, that's the self-analysis, the reflection, they made what seemed like small changes. They used lighter tires, more ergonomic seats, better frame structure, lighter racing suits, even biometric readings during practice to record how their body responds to certain training routines. All things you expect any team to work on. But they also did other things like testing different massage gels that aid in recovery, different ergonomic pillows aiding in better sleep, hence better recovery. Kind of odd things, right? The coach said, if we can aggregate all these small gains, I think we can win the Tour de France in 5 years. What do you think? Was he right? Actually, he was wrong. They won the Tour de France in 3 years and continued to win 3 out of 4 subsequent years. But the best part, where the theory proved itself to the world, was the 2012 Olympics. The UK's cycling team won 70% of the medals. All of us here have goals around bhakti. But brothers and sisters, mere goals don't make you successful. It's the system of making marginal improvements daily that gets you there. Let's do the math. 1% increase, 365 days a year, that calculates out to 37% better at the end of the year. The reverse is also true, so be warned. If we get 1% worse every year, it nearly takes you down to 0. But the most common complaints we hear about, we need to have a life and be social, still be able to live and enjoy. All right, okay, let's rejig math. 5 days a week, 46 weeks only out of the 52. That gives you 6 weeks of vacation, sheer laziness, or just simply not getting things done because you're watching your favorite show or spending time with friends. And still, we will be 10x better at the end of the year. One of the key takeaways here is the coach. He was the turning point for that team. Our guru is the turning point for you and me. So let's make these small improvements every day and become winners in his eyes. Now that we've talked about analyzing ourselves, the key ingredients like guru for our guidance and love, understanding our will, having that singular maniacal focus on our priority. Next thing is habits. It's the part where actions. This is where a lot of us actually fail. So let's hack our habits. First, what are habits? How do they work, right? Habits have 3 components. First, the trigger. Second, the action. And lastly, the reward. Let me give you an example. When your phone buzzes, that's a trigger. The action is you pick up your phone. The reward is you find out who sent you a message and what it said. When you have an action already formed, then attach a good action to it. one of the things I want to do is increase my meditation. So I took one of my most favorite things to do, my morning coffee. The first thing in the morning, I like to have my coffee. The trigger is the alarm. So while I put my coffee on, I take 60 seconds to meditate. And the reward is a hot cup of joe. Tag the new behavior like meditation or anything that you struggle with to a neural pathway that already exists and watch your results soar. Margie did this with a lot of us. The simple actions of doing Simran, remembering him every time before we eat. The actions of paying a visit to his altar before we leave the house. All of these are small little hacks that we can use to add to our existing day. Next, worry about the first 2 minutes. I struggle with exercise. Right? I've got a goal that I want to go exercise, but after a long day of work, I make a million excuses why I shouldn't go for a 5-kilometer run. But I learned if I focus on just the first 2 minutes, that takes what? That takes me getting ready and getting out of the house. And once I've done that, I'm on that on-ramp of the habit, and the rest follows. So understanding how the first 2 minutes are the most critical. Just like in any effort, the hardest struggle is in the beginning because it moves inertia. Another example I have in my life is my routine for meditation. I realized it's the incense that is the on-ramp for my meditation. It takes a lot for me to peel myself away from TV, distractions of Facebook and social media. But if I focus on just getting myself into the prayer room and lighting incense, my mind is trained to follow what's next. Just worry about the first 2 minutes. The rest, leave it up to God. Second, pre-commitment. It's also a very well-researched habit hack that immediately will boost your willpower. There's a study done on 3 groups who are looking to exercise. Group 1 were told to exercise for 2 weeks. Group 2 were played a motivational video and then asked to exercise for 2 weeks. Group 3, same as Group 2, were played a motivational video and asked to fill out the following sentence. During the following 2 weeks, I will partake in 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on this day, at this time, and at this place. This is the results the study delivered. Group 1, no motivation. 38% of them stuck to their exercise routine for the 2 weeks. Group 2, who almost immediately failed and probably forgot the video as soon as they left the room, only 35% exercised after watching the motivational video. Even lower than Group 1. Group 3, on the other hand, the success rate tripled, 91%. They were motivated and asked to pre-commit to a day, time, and place. So next time you set a priority for yourself, write it down. Set the time, set the day, and set the place you're gonna go do this. Because that will give you maximum results. Lastly, keystone habits. A keystone habit is a routine or ritual that causes a ripple effect that cascades into good habits throughout the day. Famous people do this all the time. Famous artists talk about a daily walk. Most successful CEOs talk about starting their day with 10 to 20 minutes of meditation, because after that, their day runs smoothly. My early morning meditation is a keystone habit. Waking up early and meditating gives me a sense that I've accomplished my priority first thing in the morning. And now I have time to go for a walk. While I go for a walk, I listen to an audiobook. Waking up early forces me to go to sleep early, allowing me to wake up early the next morning. So of course, I gained from the benefits of meditation first thing in the morning, but cascaded into exercising, and which brings my mind into super focus mode, for which I spend listening and an audiobook and learning from that. And because I exercised, I tend to eat healthier throughout the day, as I don't want to waste the effort I've put in the morning. If I just apply my will to the keystone habit, I don't have to spend my will on forming good eating habits or convincing myself to exercising. All that fell into play after I focused on the keystone. Find your keystone and watch it ripple and cascade into success over all the priorities you set for yourself. So, in conclusion, we should not squander this opportunity that Guru has provided us. He's bestowed his most valuable gift, that is Brahm Gyan. Let's not squander this opportunity in life to maximize our connection with God. We went over self-analysis, being maniacally focused on our priority, setting the right mindset, understanding our will, the law, aggregation of marginal gains, and a ton of habit hacks. Try them out and let us know how they work for you in the comments below.